Coming up, a full look at Discovery Island at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Disney presents Beyond the Kingdoms. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's main show of Beyond the Kingdoms. I'm your host David, and today I'm continuing my Exploring Animal Kingdom series with a look at the very heart of this park, Discovery Island. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and click on the bell icon so that you never miss an episode. But let's go exploring this beautiful island at Animal Kingdom. Discovery Island serves as a jumping-off point for the rest of Animal Kingdom. It was originally called Safari Village, and it's meant to be a fictional village that is not a specific country, but a blend of multiple places from around the world. At the very center of Discovery Island is the park's icon, the Tree of Life, which is both a magnificent work of art and home to a 3D film. This land is also the park's hub in regards to character meet and greets. There are several character locations here that are truly special. And who can forget all the delicious food? This land also holds the largest number of dining locations in the park. Altogether, this land features one attraction, over 3 character meet and greets, a nighttime projection show, 3 shops, and 10 food locations. This is Discovery Island. When Imagineer Joe Rohde and his team began brainstorming the park, they took things back to basics when it came to the overall layout and traffic flow of the park. Unlike Epcot and Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom was always meant to be a return to the classic wheel and spoke layout that proved to be very successful at both Disneyland and at Magic Kingdom. And this works well in 2 ways. First of all, given the sheer size of this park, a whopping 580 acres, this layout allows guests to pick and choose what areas they want to visit without having to be forced into an excessive amount of walking. Something that doesn't work well specifically at Epcot. I get pretty exhausted walking around all those countries. And this layout also allowed the park's signature attraction, Kilimanjaro Safaris, and its animal backstage areas to be well out of the way of guest sightlines. But something that this park does very differently than almost any Disney park is provide a terrific introduction. The main entrance to this park beautifully transitions visitors from the real world outside to a fantasy world and a return to nature. When you first arrive to the park, you can see almost nothing that the park has to offer from the turnstiles. And the first area of the park after you enter, known as the Oasis, is a very elaborate adaptation to the same effect walking through the tunnel under the train station at Main Street, USA. The Oasis is a longer transition, and it preps guests by slowly encompassing them with nature and a few animal exhibits, before the fantastic reveal of the Tree of Life. This is one of the most dramatic entrances to a Disney theme park ever made. And once you see the Tree of Life, your eye and body is immediately drawn in to discover more. Like the Tree of Life, Animal Kingdom is full of amazing big reveals and huge landscapes. But as you keep looking closer and appreciate the finer details, you'll discover rich layers of artistry. But before getting to the final result of the Tree of Life, Imagineers struggled initially to find the right icon that represented the park. Given the name of the park being a spin-off of Magic Kingdom, Disney considered constructing a castle, but instead of being made of stone and concrete, it would be made from foliage. Ideas then transitioned into a 3-tiered animal carousel. But Rohde specifically remembers that Eisner rejected it, claiming it to be, quote, frivolous. But if you look at the main silhouette of this idea, you can see how Imagineers organically found the proper silhouette for a giant tree. Thus was born the Tree of Life. And unlike a normal tree, this one would be filled with beautiful carvings featuring the main stars of the park, the animals themselves. Eisner himself always felt that a Disney park connected to animals was a logical fit, since Disney animation has always been firmly inspired by animals for its characters. So the final choice for the park's icon is probably one of Disney's best. The tree stands at over 140 feet high, and it was a massive undertaking. This giant structure took a mixture of dedicated engineers, designers, welders, sculptors, and painters to bring it all to life. At its core, it's a simple steel structure with a hexagon-shaped outline at its base. It's then layers upon layers of different materials, from steel wires and concrete to an articulate paint job to get to the finished product. And one specific challenge was how to build so many branches that all looked uniquely different and natural. Imagineers knew that constructing hundreds of uniquely different individual branches would be near impossible. So, to keep costs down, Imagineers turned to computer software to design a wireframe image of the tree, something radically new at the time of the early 1990s. And designers discovered that all they needed was 4 different types of branches designed. And if they rotated and placed each one of them slightly different from the last, and sometimes even trim off some sections, that they would end up with a tree that looked like it actually grew from the earth below. Once this was figured out, a team of artists could then go in and begin the animal carvings on the trunk. In the end, it took over a team of 10 artists from all around the world, including Ireland and France, to design and create the over 300 creatures on the tree. And surrounding the enormous tree, Disney has created a fictional township that was originally called Safari Village, and this would complete the design of Discovery Island. Unlike the rest of the lands in this park, Imagineers felt that the aesthetics of the buildings in this village needed to encompass all corners of the globe, but still feel specific. Therefore, the buildings in this land were painted very bright colors and inspired by architecture found in countries that lie near or on the equator itself. Think Mexico and Central America, to the islands of the Caribbean, and even some corners of Southeast Asia like Indonesia. From a story perspective, this made perfect sense in that the middle of the park reflected the middle of the earth, and the animal carvings found on the tree would continue throughout the village and dotted on facades everywhere. While it may seem like a random collection of animals, there are very specific choices and stories to what groups of animals are placed where. For example, all the animals surrounding Flame Tree Barbecue are themed to predators and prey. Since this is a dining location, Imagineers painted animals considered prey on the tables and designed predators into the chairs. Animals inside Island Mercantile, one of the park's main stores, is themed to animals that migrate and work, such as beavers. And some animals are very reminiscent to folk art found in Mexico, such as alebrijes. Disney fans will recognize these creatures to be similar to the ones featured in Pixar's recent film COCO. In fact, many of the animal carvings found inside Pizzafari were actually purchased by Imagineers in Oaxaca. Researchers found an artist named Rogelio Blas and his family who sold animal folk art and put them on display inside the quick service restaurant. Other animal carvings were handmade specifically for the park. Imagineer Ken Gomes actually traveled and temporarily lived in Bali to oversee the creation of many of these carvings, and he learned many techniques practiced by the locals for centuries. Overall, Discovery Island features over 1,500 animal carvings dotted from rooftops to signposts, and it's something that you want to stop and appreciate the next time you visit. Another fantastic place in Discovery Island to discover some more beautiful artwork is inside the stores themselves. All of the rooms in the major stores have a thematic story behind the artwork on display. One of my favorites is known as the Compass Room, located in the Discovery Trading Company store. You'll first notice pillars in the center of the room, and the animal carvings I've already mentioned climb all the way up to the ceiling. But notice the compass points on the walls. You'll notice that the animal murals match the compass points. If an animal is known to be primarily located in the eastern part of the world, the mural will reflect that. Like I've said before, Animal Kingdom is perhaps the most detailed Disney park in Florida. Now, switching gears and looking at merchandise, you'll find whatever it is you're looking for right here in Discovery Island. Animal Kingdom actually lacks a lot of major stores throughout the park. Each land only has one major store in it, and it's usually specific to that land. But Discovery Island has a trio of big stores, and you'll find the complete lineup of standard Disney merchandise within the three. Clothing and more upscale merchandise like jewelry can be found in Discovery Trading Company. If you're looking for toys, pins, and other popular collectibles, Riverside Depot is where you want to go. And a continuation of clothes and hats can be found across the street in Island Mercantile. This is the shop that has the more brightly colored rooms. Now, there are two specific merchandise items worth highlighting here. While you can find mouse ears in these stores, you'll be surprised to learn that this is the only park in all of Disney World that does not offer the embroidery service for the Mickey ears. So, if you're looking to purchase the classic Disney souvenir and get your name put on it, you will not be able to do that here. You'll want to go to one of the other parks to pick that up. And it's also worth noting that the only location outside of Pandora to purchase Avatar-themed items is here in Island Mercantile. You'll find an array of t-shirts, magnets, toys, and so on, but the land's two hot tickets, the Banshees and the Avatar figures, are not here in Discovery Island. You will still have to visit Wind Traders or one of the stands in Pandora to pick those up. Now, like shopping, dining is an essential part of Discovery Island. This land actually features the largest number of dining locations in comparison to every other land. And there's a great range from snacks and quick service to a lounge and fine dining. Now, I've already highlighted my favorite snacks and a slew of offerings at Nomad Lounge in my 5 must-try snacks and drinks video. If you haven't seen it, click the link in the top right-hand corner now. This is a great land to grab a quick snack in between e-ticket attractions. I also want to point out this park's Starbucks location at Creature Comforts. The aesthetics inside are slightly different from the rest of Discovery Island in that the colors are not as bright and colorful and a little bit more muted. Creature Comforts is located just before the bridge into Africa, and it's worth noting that this is adjacent to the park's baby center and first aid. A very good place to take a break with little ones in air conditioning or to pick up essentials. But today I'm going to focus on the restaurants. And first up, we have Pizzafari. This quick service location has been open since the park's opening day in 1998. And like Restaurantosaurus in Dinoland, this is good for the picky eater who doesn't want to try adventurous food. Although I do encourage those people to try a few more of the exotic and unique locations. But if you're looking for standard pizza, then this is for you. And honestly, the pizza here is a step up from the standard Disney pizza in other locations. But remember, nothing beats Via Napoli at Epcot. The restaurant itself is huge, and there are a series of really colorful dining rooms that are a great break from the weather. And this location does offer the new mobile order service. Something just added this month to this dining location is a new family-style fixed-price dinner offering. Priced at $19.99 for adults and $11.99 for kids, you get 2 different appetizers, 3 different entree dishes, a dessert, and a non-alcoholic beverage. The portion size is based on the number of people eating, so if there's only 2 of you, you'll still get 3 different entrees, but it will be sized appropriately. Just from the angle of getting the most for your buck, this is a very good deal. Now, my personal favorite quick service in Discovery Island is Flame Tree Barbecue. Before Satuli Canteen opened in Pandora, this was easily my top choice of quick service dining in all of Animal Kingdom. Now it's a good tie between the two. This restaurant's main feature is their ribs. You can get a huge portion of St. Louis ribs for $18.29 or choose from a variety of different combinations, including rotisserie chicken and pulled pork. And like Pizzafari, there is a tremendous amount of seating. It may be outdoors, but there are still plenty of tables with coverings overhead, and a really great feature is the waterside seating area. You can enjoy a good lunch with great views of Expedition Everest. Flame Tree Barbecue offers the new mobile order service, and it's a must-try dining location if you've never tried it. But the crown jewel when it comes to dining at Animal Kingdom is Tiffin's Restaurant. This is the park's only signature dining location, and it's inspired by locations visited by Disney Imagineers around the world while researching and developing Animal Kingdom. The restaurant gets its name from both the actual containers called tiffins, which are on display at the restaurant sign, and the meal service that was once common practice in British India. A tiffin is known as a light meal served around tea time. Back when British soldiers occupied India, tea time was still a long-standing tradition. But the British discovered that Indians had a similar practice around the same time of day, but it was more of a midday lunch. So a tiffin became a small meal in between lunch and dinner that became a fusion of both British and Indian offerings. But here at Animal Kingdom, the dishes are inspired by cuisine from all around the world. From charred octopus to spice-rubbed venison, this is hardly your typical theme park menu. And aesthetically, this restaurant also sums up everything that the park has to offer in one location. Animal carvings I've already mentioned throughout Discovery Island continue in these large totem poles in the center of the dining room. And there are corners like this one that reflect the same prayer flags found by Expedition Everest in Asia. It's all of Animal Kingdom wrapped in one, with a fantastic selection of menu offerings. Now, the price is steep, and I think this is best enjoyed for a special occasion like an anniversary or a milestone birthday. Entrees are priced between $40 and $53 each. And if you're using the Disney dining plan, this restaurant counts as 2 table service meal credits. But if this is on your list as a place to try, really consider the Rivers of Light dining package here. Like I mentioned in my Africa episode, the final price just makes the whole experience really worth it, regardless of how you feel about the show. The Tiffin's dining package is priced at $67 for adults and $26 for kids. That's for both lunch and dinner. When you consider that you get an appetizer, an entree, and dessert included in this one price, and the fact that entrees are normally priced around $40 and $50, I think it's pretty worth it. Just for the sake of knowing what to expect from the bill, and you don't have to use a fast pass for the show. Now, by comparison, the new Rivers of Light dessert party is priced at $79 for adults and $47 for kids. Obviously, this dessert party is mainly made up of sweets and you're located outdoors. For a lower price, I would definitely prefer a signature dining experience where I can relax and enjoy a full meal and still have reserved seating. It's definitely the better choice of the two, in my humble opinion. Now, attractions are light in Discovery Island, and that's because you'll easily be drawn to other lands for some incredible rides. But I always like to remind people to not forget the Discovery Island Trail, where you can see some wonderful animal exhibits up close. If you want to see more of this trail, check out my quick guided tour. It amazes me that people don't know you can see animals such as vultures and lemurs right in the center of the park. I do think that the 2 trails in Africa and Asia are better than this one, but they are located in very far away corners of the park. If you're pressed for time but want to see at least a few more animals, the Discovery Island Trail can be an easy way to quickly see a few animals on your way to another section of the park. Now, the land's main attraction is a 3D film called It's Tough to Be a Bug, and it's about the little creatures that scurry under our feet and inspired by the Pixar film A Bug's Life. Now, I know this isn't one of the attractions you may be rushing to see, but again, like most things in Discovery Island, this is a good way to take a break and jump into an easy attraction. If anything, this is a great way to see some of those animal carvings on the tree up close, since the theater is located inside. Surprisingly, the show is not based on the film, and that's because the attraction opened before the movie premiered in theaters. It's actually a nice mixture of education and entertainment because you'll learn how insects play a crucial part in the circle of life, but there are still some fun special effects and characters to keep things entertaining. But I do want to warn you that this theater is very dark and there are some really intense moments in the show for little kids. I find that toddlers usually come out of here kicking and screaming. So if you have a real little one that gets scared easily or someone sensitive to flashing lights, it may be worth skipping this. FastPass Plus is available, but completely unnecessary. There are obviously no height restrictions to experience this, and guests using a wheelchair or ECV can remain in those vehicles and sit in their own designated rows. And now we're on to our final section of this land, and that's entertainment and, more importantly, characters. When it comes to character meet and greets, Disney has shuffled around and cut back a lot of character opportunities in this park. Like I mentioned in my Exploring Asia episode, the Upcountry Landing area that was once a Baloo and Louie meet and greet has now become stroller parking. Currently, almost all of the character meet and greet locations can be found here in Discovery Island. The only exception is Donald's Dino Bash in Dinoland, USA. But while this park may have very few characters, Disney makes up for it with some good quality locations with some very rare characters that can only be found here. First of all, there is the Adventurers Outpost. This is Mickey and Minnie's home base before heading out on their adventures into the wild. I love the queue area for this meet and greet because you'll see a collection of photographs on the walls depicting Mickey and Minnie's adventures around the world. And once you get to meet them, you'll see that they wear some adorable safari outfits. This is probably my favorite place to meet Mickey in the parks, and there's a few reasons why. First of all, this is the only character location in the parks where you get to take a picture with Mickey and Minnie together. At Hollywood Studios and Epcot, you only have to wait in one line to meet them both, but they have separate photo spots. And at Magic Kingdom, they're on complete opposite ends of the park. Secondly, I find this location to be the shortest wait to meet Mickey. All of the other locations can easily hit 45 minutes, even very early on in the day. Now, FastPass Plus reservations are available for the Adventurers Outpost, and it's part of Animal Kingdom's Tier 2 category. While it's not a terrible idea to use FastPass here, I find that it's not always necessary. The wait is very short for the first couple of hours of the day, and also after 4 p.m. The only reason to consider getting one is if it's peak season or if you've simply got a FastPass Plus to spare. The other meet and greet locations in Discovery Island have very unique and very rare characters that can only be found in this park. Across Isle of Java and on the way to Dinoland, you can meet Pocahontas at the Discovery Island Character Landing. She usually meets continuously throughout the day between 9 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. But always check the My Disney Experience app or a times guide for the most up-to-date times. Then, near the entrance to It's Tough to Be a Bug, you'll of course find Doug and Russell from the Pixar film Up. This is probably the #1 character meet and greet in this park. If your little ones are participating in the Wilderness Explorers activity, this is a great meet and greet to do first thing in the morning before going off on some of the adventures. Sadly, FastPass Plus reservations are not available here, but the line doesn't get too terrible. The wait is pretty average most of the time, around 20 minutes or so. Now, there are additional characters here in Discovery Island, but Disney is constantly changing things. Currently, you can find Timon from The Lion King near Creature Comforts. Previously, you could meet Flick from A Bug's Life in this area, as well as Tarzan. So always keep your eyes open for changes. And when it comes to entertainment, things have also changed recently. Back in 2016, Disney premiered the Discovery Island Carnival, a collection of musicians and entertainers throwing a dance party specifically at the small stage near Discovery Trading Company. But Disney has really scaled this back significantly ever since the openings of Pandora and Rivers of Light. But you'll still find the Viva Street Band at the same stage, usually up to 7 times a day. Performance times can range between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. But while entertainment offerings are scarce, there is one fantastic nighttime display that is truly breathtaking. The Tree of Life Awakenings is Animal Kingdom's evening projection show. What makes this show so great is that it runs for an extended period of time and crowds can come and go as they please. So it's a very easy thing to stop and enjoy. The show is actually a series of mini vignettes. Each story brings an animal carving on the tree to life, and you're taken on a small journey with that animal. What I really love about this show is that there's no tie-ins to Disney movies or characters. It keeps the message and original theme of this park intact. Each story is simply based on a real animal. The music is beautiful, and the technology behind bringing the tree magically to life is stunning. The show takes place intermittently throughout the last few hours of the night. It's very easy to see, and it's not like you're going to get some huge crowds blocking your view. I personally like to watch this if I'm skipping Rivers of Light and exiting the park ahead of the crowds. Or if I'm staying later, I'll let the crowds exiting the park from the end of Rivers of Light to go on to the trams. And instead, I hang back and watch the Tree of Life awakenings. And with that, my friends, we've come full circle back to the Tree of Life. Discovery Island is a fantastic hub that really sets the stage for the rest of Animal Kingdom's beauty. It may feel like a simple Main Street USA type land, but as you pass through here in between big attractions, make sure you stop and smell the roses and really appreciate the little details. Now next week, I'll be taking a small break from this Animal Kingdom series to give you a full guide to this year's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Something I know a lot of you look forward to, just like me. And until then, make sure you catch my shorter videos on Wednesdays and Fridays. And until next time, remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah.